This year, I drew 40 attacks for Artfight. 40. And I'm not exactly sure how it happened. It was like I blinked and there were 40 attacks in front of me. That's about 1.3 artworks drawn a day. Now, if you don't know what Artfight is, I recommend reading up about it. But basically, it's a month-long art gifting game where artists attack or draw each other's characters. Some people, like me apparently, are crazy and draw a lot of attacks, whereas others are a bit more healthy about the game and just draw a few. Keep in mind that I made 20 attacks last year, which is still a lot, but not over one drawing per day a lot. But yeah, I should probably start talking about all the art I did. I won't go into detail for every single artwork for obvious reasons, and I won't go in order either, instead opting to show my art in categories, starting with mass attacks. In Artfight, a mass attack is a drawing featuring more than one character, and for this, I'm including artworks that have one character that belongs to me. Starting with my favorite mass attack that you're seeing right now, this was my most ambitious piece, partially because I was drawing 4 unique characters, but also because I was honestly getting burnt out. This was my 34th attack after all. At some point before this attack, I had made a Reddit post asking for more characters to attack, and as I looked through all of them, I noticed that 4 of them were angels and winged people, and thought I could kill 4 birds with 1 stone. 4 angels with 1 stone? I read through all their descriptions and looked on Pinterest for inspiration for poses and the arrangement of the characters. I decided on just drawing them all side by side, which is admittedly fairly boring, but I think it looked nice in the end. It was especially great since all 4 characters had different main colors: pink, green, yellowish, and blue. Admittedly, the blue one is a bit of a stretch, but she does have some blue in her eyes, so I took that and went with it. I drew them all pretty close up, but I tried to keep their wings and halos somewhat in view. And the thing I thought really brought this piece to the next level was the lighting. It was fun to give each of these characters a unique lighting color and direction. Next, we have this clown piece. Similarly to the last art piece, these characters were also from Reddit, except for Penny, who is my character. For this one, I tried to push it a little more with the poses and composition, and despite them all being clowns, they were pretty different from each other with very different vibes. Honestly, I feel like this one is kind of awkward. Like, what are they sitting on? I'm not too sure. They're just floating in space, I guess. Next, we have one of my earlier mass attacks with a whopping 2 of my characters. These 2 characters are actually from my most recent game. I had actually just finished publishing the game when Artfight first started, so they were kind of still fresh in my mind. I found a character that had a similar backstory to my character, Amelia. Both of them can see demons, and both of them are kind of seen as weirdos by their communities. Also, the creator of the character mentioned in the character's description that they would love to see their character drawn with a creepypasta character, so that's exactly what I did. I did, however, mistake the character for a child. She's not a child at all. Her character reference looked like a child to me, I guess. The original artist didn't mind too much though. I drew Amelia protecting her from my monster character Sheen. Now it's time to go a bit faster. These next 2 artworks were pretty fun. For the first one, I decided to draw my character Usa with another character, who's just called Ghost. I decided to do this because I thought they had fairly similar designs, at least with their faces. Their clothing, not so much. The second artwork is, once again, with another one of my characters called Ramona. I drew her with a character called Jane because they're both sheep people. For some reason, I struggled so much with this character. I couldn't figure out how to draw her in my style while still keeping her face looking like the character, but I eventually figured it out. For these next two artworks, once again, it's my character and another. For this first one, the character who attacked me had a lot of fox characters, including a few kitsune. And once again, I included a character from my latest game. But he doesn't actually have any colors in the game, so for this art piece, I had to design colors for him. When I was designing him for the game, even though I didn't add any colors, I imagined he would have a lot of white and red, which goes well with the other character's pink colors. And I also found a Pinterest reference composition that I liked and used it as inspiration for this artwork. And for the second piece, I drew them both together because of their lore. My character on the left is Bella, and spoilers, she was poisoned to death with belladonna, or deadly nightshade. The character on the right, called Belladonna, is someone who can create poisonous gas on a whim. So it just felt fitting to draw them together. Now on to the headshots. Headshots are by far the easiest for me to draw, and I can crank these out really quickly. I'm sure if I did all headshots, I could have doubled my attacks. But I wanted to challenge myself more than that. But for a lot of characters where I wasn't entirely sure what pose to draw them in but thought that they looked cool, I drew them in headshots. This first one was a revenge on a character called Nyx. I chose him because he was creepy. The second one is Choco, who belongs to an artist that I attacked last year. So it was fun to attack him again this year. Though I do think I could have done a bit better with this drawing. I think the pose looks a bit awkward. For these next two, the first was an attack on a character called Sael, and the second was an attack on a character called Bomi. I chose the first one because I just like the blue aesthetic of the mask. I'm a sucker for masks and character designs. The second one was just really cute, and I really love the art style. As we go through all the artworks, you'll notice a certain cat theme, by the way. I drew her and had a lot of fun, especially with the colors. She was just a very appealing and interesting character to draw. The next two headshots were a revenge on a character called Polyxena and an attack on a character called Chiffon. Polyxena didn't take long to draw, but she had a really unique hair texture I tried to imitate. Unfortunately, I couldn't capture the texture as well as I wanted. Chiffon had a very pastel, cute color scheme, and I think that lent very well to my style. The pose and background aren't too different from what I was doing with a lot of the other headshots, but I just think it turned out so nice. These next two are Aloria and Haze. Both were revenges I made on characters I thought looked pretty nice and had some appealing color schemes. This year, I wanted to do some more backgrounds, but with how many attacks and revenges I wanted to do for Artfight, it was hard to bring myself to do just that. So a lot of these, specifically the headshots, don't have a whole lot going on in the background. And the final headshot was on a character called Amaris. I just thought she was so pretty, but I honestly got kind of lazy with her. She was my 40th attack, so you can imagine how tired I was of drawing by then. But I just had to get myself to the big 40. Now on to full body pieces, of which I only have 4. This first one of a character called Chester was only my second attack, and it was yet another cat character. I just thought he had such a cool and unique design. And I also just really liked the art style of the artist. He and some of the other artist's characters are inspired by Alice in Wonderland, and he particularly was inspired by the Cheshire Cat, which I thought was cool. This piece is also one of the few pieces that has an actual background. Not a super interesting background, but a background nonetheless. This next full body was a revenge on a character called Izar, who just had a really interesting look and backstory. So although he was a child and I'm not too experienced with drawing children, I decided to draw him. And I gave him something that could pass for a background, I guess. But I also gave him some cool lighting, which always elevates the artwork. The next full body was yet another cat girl. I guess I just think cat characters are especially cute or something, since I drew them so much. But that's not entirely my fault because people just tend to design cat characters as cute characters. This character, called Lapis, also just had a very appealing pink and blue color scheme. As you can see, I didn't really draw a background for her. It was more so just that I found a pose I thought fit that just so happened to be a full body. My last full body attack is one where I went full out with the background. The character, called Stephanie, is a ghost girl. A creepy ghost girl, to be exact. So, of course, I went all out for her. The lore for her character wasn't super in-depth, but one thing it did say is that she likes to hang out in caves and scare cave divers. So I drew her in a cave, and I just really love the aesthetic of the piece. It's so creepy. The way she kind of blends in with the background, but also doesn't. Also the flashlight effects. I just think it looks cool. Now, at this point, I'm only halfway through my artworks. So let's take a little break from my human attacks and look at some of my animal attacks. When going into Artfight, I wasn't exactly expecting to draw a lot of animals, or any really, but I actually drew quite a few. These first two are both headshots of very different animals called Little Duck and Canis lupus, and I believe they're both revenges too. This first one I drew pretty quickly, but it was very fun. I played around with this unique angle that would have been a lot harder for a person or animal with a more complex face structure. I think it ended up looking really cute. The other one is a wolf that only had a reference for its head, so I only drew that. But although this was also pretty easy to draw, I also enjoyed it because wolves are my favorite animal. This next one was another one of my favorites, as it's my first attack ever that's an animation. The character is just called Strawberry Cream Cat, and this was, yet again, a revenge. But the artist that attacked me did so in a meme format. So I decided to repay the favor by drawing one of their OCs as a meme. I chose the cat and went all out. I found the original meme and studied every frame so that I could replicate every pose and angle while still trying to remain faithful to the character's design. And although it was a full animation, the drawing and animating part didn't even take me 3 hours. Though it felt like it took much longer than that. I couldn't make the full meme in Procreate because of its stupid layer limit. So once I got the main frames down, I exported them and brought them into CapCut. There I added in the audio and made sure the timing was perfect. And then it was done. These next two were pretty fun because I did something a little different for both. The first one is actually another animatronic called Ferdy Birdie. A raccoon, I think. And in the description of the character, it described him as an animatronic that likes to hang out in the tunnels of the place he's at. So I drew him an event tunnel thing. I actually created 2 versions of the drawing. The first version had a lot of mistakes and just looked weird to me overall. But I didn't realize until after I had sent in the attack. So I deleted the attack and redrew a bunch of parts and adjusted the anatomy. I think that was a good call. The old version wasn't horrible, but it just didn't make sense the longer you looked at it. And the second artwork is a cute and derpy little cat called Ambertail, who I did a full body of. The final 2 animal attacks consist of yet another cat called Crimson Leaf, and a character that's kind of both an animal and a person called Mousette. But since I only drew the head of the character, which is basically just a mouse, I decided to group her with the animals. There isn't really much to say about my drawing of Crimson Leaf, but for Mousette, I specifically chose her because I thought she was really cute and would be really fun to draw. I had this idea for a pose that would require a little bit of a top-down perspective. Usually that would be hard, but for a similar reason as with Little Duck, it was pretty easy to figure out. And last, but certainly not least, are the half-body artworks. I have 12 of these, so I'll try not to take up too much time talking about them all. First off, we have my first attack for the year of a character called Costume Designer, and a revenge of a character called Cassiopeia. Like I said, CD was my very first attack. I just thought her design was so pretty, which is why I chose her to be the first character I attacked. However, I struggled way too much with her. Mostly because of the anatomy and me trying to get the face to look right. I think I was just rusty since I hadn't drawn another person's character in over a year, so it can be hard to try to adapt someone's character into your own style. For Cassiopeia, I wanted to draw her from the perspective of looking up at her. She's kind of a space moth goddess lady, so I thought it was fitting. I also added some below lighting as well, which really makes the piece look great. This next half body, on a character called Forest, is a little bigger than the others. Her design seemed very interesting to me, and some of the reference artworks of her had these creepy skull and glowing petals. I thought that looked so cool and wanted to do something with that with my attack, so that's exactly what I did. The pose is honestly kind of boring, but I think the background, lighting, and colors make up for that. These next two are pretty opposite in aesthetic. One is creepy and the other is cute. It's sometimes pretty ironic comparing the things I like to draw. The first character, Shiles, was extremely fun to draw. His design isn't necessarily supposed to be creepy as he's not meant to be a scary monster. Actually, some of the reference images of him depict him acting very nice and friendly, while others lean more into the creepy aspect. I always love drawing and rendering in my creepypasta style, and this was no different. I especially loved playing around with his fur hair stuff all over his body. The second artwork is a cute girl with a cute dog. This was my only attack where I drew an animal and person together. I think the dog looks a bit awkward, but overall it looks fine. This next one is one of my favorites of a character called Ella. As I was drawing her, I had this spark of inspiration and went from that. Again, I drew her in my creepypasta style as her design was mostly black and white anyway. But I included the green in her design too, as well as in some additional areas. The end result is arguably simple, but I just think the effect looks so cool. And I absolutely love the contrast of the black versus white on her face and hair. And here we have another large piece on a character called Amara. When I read her description, I saw that she enjoyed empty streets at night, so I drew her walking through one. I thought it would turn out looking very nice, especially if the road overlooked a body of water. Originally, the artwork was going to show more of the sidewalk and less of the ocean, but I decided to change the composition halfway through. I think it looks better for it. Next, we have a character called Locke and a character called Reese. But I don't really have much to say about the artworks other than I thought the characters were pretty and unique. So I guess we can just have a moment of silence to enjoy the speed paints. This next half body was actually a revenge I created for one of my subscribers who made this gorgeous artwork of Penny from my FNAF fan game. It was so beautiful, so I just knew I had to make something equally good as a revenge. The character is a tiefling called Asphodelia, who is haunted by dead relatives. and that inspired me to draw her surrounded by ghosts. I had this image in my mind of a piece that was very blue with Asphodelia staring out of a window at one of the ghosts. The design was a bit hard to draw because she has quite a lot of trinkets all over her outfit. I hope I got them all right. Anyway, I think the art piece turned out really well. It was certainly very fun to draw. And finally, we have these last two characters, Aaron and Amare. Aaron had a very simple design that I liked a lot. I thought it was very appealing despite how simple it was, and I enjoyed drawing her. Amare was just another character that I thought was so pretty, and her color scheme and outfit were just very appealing to me. But that is finally all. I actually finished all these artworks a few days before Artfight ended. But by then, I was quite burned out, and I didn't want to push myself anymore if I didn't need to. Plus, 40 is a nice, even number. It's not 50, but maybe next year? I'm just kidding. Hopefully, I won't force myself to draw 50 Artfight Attacks next year. But out of all the artworks I've shown in this video, which one is your favorite? There are quite a few that I like, but it's hard to choose just one as my favorite. But anyway, that's all I have for you today. Credits to all of the original creators of the characters are in the description, so feel free to check them out. I also added my own Artfight link in case you want to check out my profile. Thank you so much for watching, and please consider liking and subscribing if you're interested in seeing more of my content. Take care and farewell.